Welcome to part 7 of walking on the Ryerson Station Warpath and part 2 of the Beaver Wars. Let's go back to the beginning let's go back before the Beaver Wars to way before. Let's go to the root of why the Iroquois hated the French. It goes all the way back to when the French were exploring with their Algonquin allies, which is the Algonquin speaking tribes, which I can't remember if it was the Ojibwa, which we know as the Chippewa, or the Ojibwa stretched all across Canada, but I can't remember exactly which ones they were. But anyways, they were on a mission, and it was before the Iroquois had guns, and the French, the Algonquin tribes told the French how powerful this Iroquois nation was. The 5 nations at the time. They weren't 6 nations until the Tuscarora joined them at the end of the Beaver Wars. But anyways, so they didn't have guns, so they boldly attacked them like they usually did, and the French opened up with their blunderbuss muzzleloaders and killed 2 of the Iroquois chiefs. And from that day until the French were off this continent, the Iroquois never buried the hatchet with the French. They did in treaties, but they really never did because they hated the French. So if you could go back in time and change history, that would be one point in time. If you had a time machine and you want to change how North America was, that would be one of the times. But anyway, so when the Iroquois started trading with the Dutch after that, and of course the Dutch started trading guns, and that's when they started gaining their power, because they were a nation of few, but they were so organized. Ben Franklin actually called them our backwoods experiment, and we basically took a lot of their constitution and put it into ours. But anyways, let's get back to the Beaver War. So when the Beaver War started, like I said, they became the Iroquois basically became the Roman Empire. And at this point in time, it might have been in the beginning of the Beaver Wars, the British basically took over New York, where the Dutch were, and the British became the allies of the Iroquois. And so there you have it. The French were giving arms to all the Algonquin tribes clear into the Mississippi, and the English basically had some tribes down south. I believe the Cherokee, I can't remember, and all the different tribes right now. But anyways, let's get right to because in the Northeast is where it happened. So the Beaver Wars basically happened from all the way into the Mississippi in the forest woodlands. But anyways, so they basically, the Iroquois, they were out to become the most powerful. Whoever had the most beaver pelts won. So they basically wiped out their Iroquois-speaking relatives, the Huron. I can't remember how many thousands of Huron. I believe it's close to 1 million. They destroyed 1 million people. Don't quote me on that, but I was trying to remember about on the way up Patriot Hill what the number. I know they totally wiped them almost out. They became known as the Wyandotte tribe. But if you hear of Wyandotte Indians in history, they're basically what's left of the Huron tribe after the Iroquois destroyed them. The Erie Nation up near Lake Erie, destroyed. The Neutral Nation, destroyed. And the most powerful one, the Susquehannocks, named after the Susquehannock River, very powerful Indian tribe. They destroyed. The Iroquois were just amazing fighters. I'll do some more research for you guys about the Iroquois and stuff, and see if I can put it in. I'll do a video on the Iroquois and the Beaver Wars, and I'll even yeah, I'll do a Native American blog with all the videos that I've talked about Native Americans and Native American history. But that's my favorite history, or Native history, because I live in the woods, and I've lived in the woods all my life. And you know, I've talked even about their religion, how when the Christian religion came in and said about the Holy Spirit and explained to them a little bit about the Holy Spirit and Jesus and God, and they're like, hey, they're talking about the Great Spirit, let's just go along with them. They looked at us like children, but they, you know, they actually, when it came to common sense, the Indians had more common sense than our settling people from Europe. But we learned from them, and we became the great nation that we are today. You know, well, and now this Obama is totally destroying this country piece by piece, bit by bit. At the bottom of all my blogs, I'm going to promote my favorite talk radio host, Michael Savage, and I'm going to have a link to his website. So, and like I say, turn off the TV set, my friends, and pick up a book. Start studying our great history of how this country came to be, because it's an amazing story that's never told. It's amazing the few schools that I got to talk to about walking on the roads. The kids were like kids in a candy shop, because I took a box of books with me, my history books, to tell them this is how I become a great patriot. I've learned our great history, and you should have saw the kids going through all my books. They were amazed, especially my Native American books. And even when I traveled to Norway, I was teaching my girlfriend's kids and her niece and whoever. I was teaching, well, I taught them American football, and I was also teaching them about Native America. And so, yeah. But anyways, yeah, this will be the last part. I hope you enjoyed the Beaver War story. Like I said, it's an amazing story of how it's sad, you know, the wars that the Indians went through, and they became dependent on our gunpowder and our steel hatchets and our steel pots to cook in, and our blankets, and they loved our beads. You know, they became dependent on our trade goods, and there was the demand for beaver pelts was the most. Of course, all the pelts of the forest were, but that was the most. They got the most wampum. that was their the Iroquois. They said it was their money and everything, but it's more of a ceremonial belt. You should look into the wampum history. It's very interesting too. But yeah, so once again, thanks for joining me. I know we're gonna run out. This is the last video of walking, and I see it's gonna run out here. So thanks again. See you next time on Walking the Warpath. Of course, I got